Hello, everybody. My name is Paula van der Werff, and I'm here with Karen McKy. And she is going to talk about the new Master Facilitation Workshop that she has developed together with Rob Williams. And this workshop is going to be held in the Netherlands in July, and she will tell us more about it. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Paula. Thanks for having me. And this is a great opportunity to get to meet with you and say hello to people there in Europe that might be interested in joining us, and in your country as well. So thanks for this great idea.
All right, shall we just jump into the interview? Is that okay for you?
Sure.
All right. The first question is, Karen, maybe you could tell us something about yourself and how you got started with PSYCH-K.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been a few years ago that I got started with PSYCH-K. I had really been interested in personal growth most of my life. And so then I went through some other modalities and studied some other things, and really got into the spirituality aspects, which was another big love of mine. And so combining spirituality and psychology together was a great interest, but there wasn't much available in that way. It was either one or the other. They were pretty separate. And I got started in hypnosis work and really enjoyed that. And I was working with helping people with more spiritual needs through hypnosis, helping them understand more about who they are as a spiritual being. And then PSYCH-K came along, and that showed up in 2009 is when it showed up. For me, it was July of 2009. And I went to my very first workshop, and I felt like I had come home. I felt like I had found something I'd been looking for my entire life and didn't have any way of describing it other than it felt like I had come home. So I think before I became an instructor in March of 2010. And
my next question. All right.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a fast pace, but the result of the Divine Integration Retreat actually was that I understood that I needed to become an instructor. And it was not a, what do I want to call it? It was not a like, oh, divine moment, you know, it was more of a, you've got to be kidding me kind of a moment, because I really didn't ever dream of being a teacher or an instructor of any kind. My mom had been an instructor, and I found out my grandmother had been a teacher, a school teacher, years before when she was a young woman. And I thought, I'll never be a teacher. What are you talking about? But after the Divine Integration Retreat, I really understood that that was where I needed to go. And it was a very strong push. And my third husband said, great, let's get started. What do we have to do first? You know, and I said, oh, no, I don't want to do this. But it was to be. It was meant to be. And so by March, I was becoming a PSYCH-K instructor and got certified to teach the basic of March of 2010. So here we are, and you know, just celebrated my 8th year, and I've been teaching basically all of that time and enjoying it and loving it. It's been such a beautiful blessing in my life. And of course, I love to share PSYCH-K because it's so much fun work for everyone, and they get to learn how to embrace themselves at a deep level and change the things that they want to change for themselves. So, yeah.
So now you have been instrumental in bringing to light a new workshop in PSYCH-K called the Master Facilitation Workshop that you have developed together with Rob Williams. And I'm very curious, how did this workshop come into being?
So Rob really realized that there were some things that he wanted to have be different. And so he had asked if I would work with helping to develop that program into, take it a different direction. And so as I started working on that, it was about a year later, because it's been about 2 years that it's a 2-year process that we've been through, actually. And as we went through that 2-year process with writing of information and sharing back and forth through emails and conversations, we realized that this was becoming something different. It wasn't going to be a remake of the old program. It really needed to be its own new experience. And the focus of the old program was that it was more about techniques or processes, helping people learn more additional tools. And along with that, there was also another secondary focus that was on business aspects. But many of the students really weren't all that interested in the business aspects, because they were more interested in, how do I take this further for myself? How do I be a better facilitator for me? And how can I enhance my abilities to help my friends and my family members, and maybe take it into a business kind of direction. But it was very clear that one was much more business oriented, our other version, and then this one needed to become more about creating excellence, being able to facilitate either with ourselves or with a partner at a level of excellence for ourselves that we can't learn it in the basic, because in the basic we're getting the nuts and bolts put together, we're putting the device or the machine together, so to speak. And when we do that, there's that learning, and it's like getting on the bicycle. I tell people it's like having that gift under the tree, or a birthday gift, and it's an assembly kind of a gift, like a bicycle. And we have to put all the pieces together, and then we learn how to get on and ride, and we're kind of teetery, and it's a little awkward. But before long, we figure it out. Well, some people would say, well, let's go learn how to ride the bicycle even better than we know how to ride it. Let's learn how to do jumps, and let's learn how to ride without our hands on the bars, and things like that. So that's where excellence comes in. We get to a skill level where we can learn how to ride without our hands on the bars, or we can learn how to do fancy stops or take leaps or whatever you might want to do. And so that's what the Master Facilitation Workshop is really all about. It's about helping our partners develop mastery with the skills that they've learned in the basic. But it also brings in some other fun things that are new, so that you'll also have an opportunity as a Master Facilitation student or attendee, a participant, to get some new fun things to play with. Now, one of those things has only been available in the Advanced Workshop previously, and that's surrogation. So surrogation has been brought into the Master Facilitation Workshop. It's like 30 years later now, guys. It's never been done outside of that Advanced Workshop. So Rob realized that, wow, for people to be able to help each other around the world, which many of our facilitators have friends and family in different cities, different states, different countries, and people need to be able to help their friends and family long distance. So surrogation is now included in the Master Facilitation Workshop, which is a beautiful experience, and it will allow people to really help their friends and family, and perhaps clients too, wherever they're at. Another thing that's wonderful is the messages from situations. So you'll be learning about, how do I get spiritual messages from situations that keep showing up? And I give an example because this actually happened for me at one point. I would be getting into my car, and I would bonk my head on the frame of the car door. There was no good reason for me to do that, but I would occasionally do it. And I kept thinking, what is going on with this? Why do I keep bonking my head on the door frame? So we can get spiritual messages about why things are happening. And it can be very, very helpful for us, because things show up in life and we don't necessarily know why they're there. And if we can understand what's going on, then it helps us.
But Karen, now we want to know what your message was.
I don't even remember now. It was a long time ago. That was like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, whenever I learned that. So I don't recall. But it was in the moment, and I needed it at that time. But better to get the message gently and easily than to have to, keep hitting my head. Sure. Yeah. So that's just one thing. Perhaps it's situation where somebody's in a relationship with somebody and they keep having the same kind of discussion that comes up in the relationship. Maybe they can't get beyond that particular hurdle. So we can use this process to help people learn more about what is going on in their life. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. But we've got lots of other wonderful things that are included in this workshop too. We will be learning a lot about the background information about PSYCH-K and why certain things are done the way we do them, so that we can maintain efficacy or efficiency within our balancing processes, how to become better with creating goal statements. How do we interact with other people in a very meaningful way? One of the other things that will be very pronounced in this workshop is that we will be doing a lot of practice, lots of practice. So it will be, we've got a full day and a half that is dedicated specifically just to intensive practice. And there's some free time in there a little bit on the end of the last day, on the end of the third day, for going over things that the students want to revisit and fine-tune some other questions perhaps. So that still would be practice oriented. But this is a very intensive class about practice. And 3 different roles will be played. We'll have the partner role, we'll have an observer role, and then we'll have the facilitator role. So in this particular class, we'll have groups of 3, and each person will rotate through all 3 seats per practice. So everybody gets to play every single role. One of the great things about playing the observer role is that you're not on the hot seat for having to be the facilitator and answer all the questions, and nor are you the partner. So you can really sit back and take notes and say, oh, wow, that was a beautiful point. The facilitator did a great job on asking that question. And then we can figure out, how do I want to be able to incorporate that type of experience for myself when I'm the facilitator. And so we'll have at least 3 different practices. One of the practices will be about face-to-face communication, where we're present, physically present with the partner, and we'll be working with that partner. That's the first practice session that we'll have. The second one will be about, how do we do a video session, like what you and I are kind of doing, although if I was facilitator and you were my partner, how would I take you through all of the steps with a video session so that I could assist you and facilitate with you? And how can you have the best experience possible?
So
and then the third
surrogation comes in handy, right?
Right, we'll be definitely using surrogation in that experience. So we will be practicing everything in the class that we've learned on the first day. So the messages will be a part of that experience as well, and surrogation is on the first day. So when we have these sessions in the class and we're practicing in the class helping each other, then we'll be incorporating that information. Our third practice, it will be a phone session. So we won't get to see the other person. And here's where the observer role gets fun, because the observer now is going to watch the facilitator and the partner with their backs turned to each other, because we don't want the facilitator to see the partner. We want to see, can the facilitator describe everything that they need to describe to get the partner to do the balance process well, and that they understand what they're supposed to do. So in this role, the partner has to play dumb. They have to pretend like they don't know what the facilitator is talking about. So it's going to be very intense and rich with the practice sessions. Lots and lots of learning takes place as people participate in any of those 3 levels. And we've got specific goals that we're going to be accomplishing in each one of those calls as well. So I hope that kind of fills you in, gives you a bit of a better picture.
Yes. And it definitely gives me a sense that how important it is to take the Master Facilitation Workshop if you're just starting out with facilitating people. You do not have much experience with it. But sometimes I have people and they're already coaches for years and they know how to be a practitioner. Is it useful for them, you think, to come take the Master Facilitation Workshop?
Absolutely, absolutely. When we've been doing something for some time, we develop habits. And this class will give us an opportunity to find out if those habits are actually supportive when we're delivering PSYCH-K. They might be very supportive for other modalities, because sometimes people have different modalities that they operate with, and there can be bleed over into PSYCH-K, and that is not necessarily helpful. So one of the things that will be very important is to learn that to enhance the energetic field of PSYCH-K, we want to be able to have just PSYCH-K processes taking place in a PSYCH-K session, and we might not even realize that we're actually bringing something in from another modality or another form of work that we do. And so somebody else can say, hey, where does that come from? And we can learn how to pick those things back out and leave them in their appropriate time and place. Now, for the new person that has maybe had the basic workshop, let's say somebody took the basic workshop a month ago, and they have a pretty good understanding. Maybe they've been using the processes at home each day, and they're feeling like, oh, I feel pretty good about what I'm doing, but they're ready for the next step. So this will be an opportunity for that person to add the polish to what they've already done, and to develop excellent habits and excellent skills that perhaps they didn't quite see or understand before when they were in the basic workshop. It really allows us to really go deeper into the understanding of what to do and how to do it. And we're not in that place of learning so much new stuff all at the basic, because like we said, we were assembling everything. Now we've got that behind us and we're ready for new information. So this will give us that.
And what would you say is your favorite topic in the Master Facilitation Workshop?
Oh my goodness, my favorite topic. I think probably messages is my favorite topic as far as things that we'll be learning, because this is where we start to understand that the superconscious has so much to share with us. And if we will but listen, we gain so much. And it's a place where we have to learn to be very curious and to entertain ideas that might seem unusual, you know, or at least not in our everyday thoughts. It's fun, it's intriguing, it's eye-opening, and exciting at times too, I think. We'll be learning that there are times where we don't even have to know consciously what the message is for things to shift. And so this is a new element that's being added to the new messages. We've actually updated the messages protocol a bit too. And so this will be one of the things that's new about that protocol, is that we're leaning more into the superconscious and trusting the superconscious to assist us, even if we don't have conscious knowledge of the goal. So that's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. So, Karen, in closing, what would you say in one sentence to somebody who is considering doing the Master Facilitation Workshop?
You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Well, I get to lose a lot of money if, you know.
I'm sorry, say again?
Well, I could lose a lot of money because it costs.
Well, now then, that's an interesting thing to think about. Who is more important in your life than you? And if we invest in ourselves, do we ever lose money? We never do. We're always the very best investment that we have. And when we further ourselves, we are able to do things much more efficiently, much more effectively. And that actually brings money in the door. It's not a loss of money. So anytime I can improve myself, I know that that's a great investment in me. And as I've learned over the years about becoming an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur, we have to invest in ourselves. We have to get better than what we've been, because we're always growing. and then we'll always be able to bring more people along with us that are ready to grow too.
I totally agree with you. All right. Thank you very much for this interview.
You're so welcome.
And well, I'm looking forward to you coming in July, and I hope you will meet a lot of my students and that they will come and enjoy you as well.
Well, I am looking forward to it. I'm so delighted to get to come and be with you and everybody that wants to join us. We will have a marvelous time, I promise, and it's going to be life-changing.